Economics in Quan and Grand Bravo. Economics in Quan and Grand Bravo. Economics in Quan. I went to my Bravo.
It is a tough time for many. The young and the old not spared the searing impact of Ghana's debilitating economic crisis.
Nowadays, an average Ghanaian can even get 3 square meals to eat a day.
It is a crisis that's been described as self-inflicted.
That presents a huge security challenge, bigger than you talk about maybe the Al-Qaeda's and the jihadist movement and all that.
Economic watchers have been consistent in their call for government to cut out extravagant expenditures.
Government should begin to look at how best can we give these young people something to do. What support can we give to the financial institutions that are already going through challenge so that they focus on some support to people who want to just create something.
Utility bills are eroding incomes of households.
Now you can't save anything. You rather go and borrow from your capital. I don't know how I'm even surviving it.
And small businesses are folding up.
The cost of things have gone up because if you are serving someone, you need to go in with a car. Fueling the car, it's not easy. Before market too, you need to buy things for the food and everything. So by the time you finish and paying your workers, you are left with nothing.
I had to pay water bill, a light bill, pay employees, pay for everything. So if you really want to make this thing work, definitely you have to increase the price.
With soaring unemployment rates, depreciating currency and dwindling economic fortunes, the rising cost of living is biting. And how are people surviving Ghana's economic meltdown? My name is Komla Adom, and I am back on the road to find out. Some call it survival, the daily hustle to make ends meet. The rising cost of living is choking many. In the last few months alone, Ghana's currency has depreciated so badly against major international trading currencies. Fuel prices have seen multiple spikes, with a litre of petrol or diesel selling past 14 cedis. In the markets, food prices have simply become unaffordable. But President Akufo-Addo's repeated assurance of better times have done little to offer people the needed respite.
The whole world has been taken aback by the speed with which inflation has eaten away people's incomes. Economies, big and small, have experienced over this year alone the highest rise in cost of living over a generation. This is why I'm back in your homes this evening to ask for your support as we work together to get our economy back into good shape.
I have come to Aija Zongo, a suburb of Kumasi, to meet Abdul Nazir Abdul Latif.
This business here is about having more customers. The more you have, the more you gain.
His unsuccessful search for a job after tertiary education at the Kumasi Technical Institute forced him into starting something to earn a living.
After service, whenever you go and search for work, the same thing, whether you don't have enough experience or try and come back next time. So, and we are growing. You can't just sit there and wait for this kind of replies. So I thought that I have to just find something. And initially I started traveling to Nigeria. I will go and bring some men's clothes and I will sell. And my brother was doing transfer here, and I give him the clothes for him to sell for me. So someone told me that I should just maybe try the money business. Maybe it will help. And I listened to that advice and started over money business.
The economic meltdown is taking a toll on Abdul and his household.
Initially, things has been good. You just budget for the month. You know what you are getting and what you are supposed to spend. But nowadays, you can't even do any budget. Especially me, I'm the only one working. The lady is at home, so you have to bring anything. So now the time is real hard.
The little he earns from operating this mobile money joint can barely cater for his family.
Just last month, I used about, let's see, 600 cedis to buy foodstuffs at home. The rice, the tin tomatoes, and maybe some oil. About 600 cedis, yeah. I think that was this month. But last month, I was using 400 cedis for the same items. And last 2 months, maybe some 3.2 or 3.5. But now it's 600 cedis. I don't know how I'm even surviving it. I don't know, but something keeps us going.
Show me where the money there, just the hustle for long. Sika emoja, he make on the crest, cause someone send me sucking my blood.
His wife, Osman Huzaya Fatu, welcomes him home after the day's toils. But the rising cost of baby foods and baby clothing have become a burden.
We can't be working more than, let's say, maybe around 12 hours a day, and you can't even feed yourself well. It's very bad. We are in this country because we don't have money to travel. That's why we are here. Else, all of the youth will just run away from this situation. It's very bad.
Abdul Nasir Abdul Latif's family represents many families who are hanging on and barely surviving.
It's no surprise finding 5 out of 10 young people in the streets in any part of the country complaining of unemployment. There is a burgeoning group of individuals who are out of school and simply have no jobs to do. Those that are able to land jobs, just a few of them, the percentage is really minuscule. But you find that others are turning to innovative ways of making ends meet despite the economic crunch and unemployment rates. I'm here to meet Fatima Zara Suleiman, a young lady who has decided to venture into entrepreneurship, set up Tim's Farm.
Fatima Zara Suleiman started her Tim's Farm's food company in 2020 while she was in school.
When I started Tim's Farm, I was packaging it inside one transparent rubber. But then after school, I had to do something. I actually learned marketing in university. So when I finished school, I wanted to do something that goes with what I learned in school. That is why I opened Tim's Farm. And the packaging, I realized that what I'm selling inside the Tim's Farm in 2020, it wasn't describing the actual vision of my company. So I had to repackage everything again.
But with time, living costs shot up and people's purchasing power began to witness a decline.
When I started Tim's Farm last 2 years, I used to buy a bag of rice, the brown rice, for 300 cedis. But now it is 650 per bag. And the price of packaging, labeling and everything, they are just not the same. So if you bought Tim's Farm for the water pack for 34 cedis last year, this year is 64 cedis. I had to pay water bill, a light bill, pay employees, pay for everything. So if you really want to make this thing work, definitely you have to increase the price. That is the main reason why our prices now are rising.
Like many small businesses struggling to stay afloat, Fatima's Tim's Farm is feeling the heat.
Imagine me also having 5 employees in addition to what I'm already paying right now. That is the light, the water bill, the everything here. So if I have 5 employees who are also family people, just imagine what really goes into this to make it look like this.
Ghana is struggling with extreme inflation, a budget deficit and debt distress, which have combined to cripple businesses and continues to erode incomes of many people. Inflation in Ghana reached 29.8% in June 2022. Food prices rose by 30.7% in 2021, and energy costs have simply spiked. Commercial bus drivers are also bearing the brunt of rising cost of petroleum products.
I used to buy like 80 cedis, so nowadays I've been buying like 1.5. So now fuel is very costly for us. It affects everybody, whether the market women, the staff, everywhere. And that's why small trotro and taxi drivers are still affecting us.
In 2022 alone, the Ghana Private Road Transport Union (GPRTU) announced at least 4 increases in fares in alignment with the hike in petroleum products. On February 26, they announced a 15% increase, a 20% increase on May 6, a 30% increase on September 14, 19% increase on October 29. In the business environment, many small enterprises have collapsed since the outbreak of COVID-19 in 2020. More than 30,650 small to large businesses took a hit, and 2 years after the pandemic, 14,162 of them remain permanently closed. 1,318 others are yet to operate at full capacity according to the Ghana Statistical Services COVID-19 tracker as of February 2022. I have come to Ashiye Fulani in Accra to meet Angela Ajiman-Lebeni, Chief Executive Officer of Angeline Catering. She has been in the food business since 2018, but has had to close down her shop because of a soaring cost of running the business.
I was doing it online, events, and then maybe cooking for people. That's stews, soups, and the rest. So last year, and I decided to get a place to operate and do it daily. When I got this place, I actually saw it to be a very open place that can fetch me a lot of people because the place is big. But then when I came, I think things didn't go the way as planned. Everything was moving on well till we started buying cooking oil for 1,000 Ghana. And then things just shut up. And then you've employed like 5 to 6 people, and then you have to pay them at the end of the month as well. And also where they work, like my business like this, I feed them morning, afternoon, evening. I also have a place for them to sleep, so they only go home when they are off duty. That's when they go home. So you can imagine feeding people and paying them salary at the end of the month. So it was quite expensive.
All the investments she made to rent and furnish this place have gone down the drain.
He initially said he would take 5 years for 600, and I was like, oh, I can only afford for 2 years, so I'm begging. So because of the person who recommended me, so he was like, okay, because of his friend, he will give it to me for the 2 years. So I paid for the 2 years, and I had to do renovation as well, the painting, the looking for the flowers and those things, the lighting and everything. So I did chairs, I did tables, so I have to pack all those things home.
We can see that a lot of dust, cobwebs are gathering because it's been shut for how long?
Oh, for almost like 6 months, I'll say 7 months now.
So tell us, in the 6 months, what have your staff been doing? How have you been coping?
The staff, they have been working with them. Most of them have been working with them before I even opened this place. Now, instead of them being a full-time, they are now a part-time. So when I get orders, I call them and then they come too. It has been very tough, difficult actually, because now even if you price or you cost something for a client, you now have to be explaining things. So, but they don't know that the cost of things have gone up, because if you are serving someone, you need to go in with a car and then paying the driver or fueling the car. It's not easy. Before market too, you need to buy things for the food and everything. So by the time you finish and paying your workers, you are left with nothing.
I have come to meet financial and savings analyst Patrick Abankwaba, who has been studying the trends.
We should expect tougher times before somewhere June this year, until in my view, until things are finalized with the IMF to give some kind of confidence in the economy, more especially when we know that the first half of every year, or let's say the first quarter to be specific, we are always expected to experience some kind of depreciation of the cedi. And don't forget that once the cedi depreciates, it affects everything. Fuel is impacted and everything relating to the cost of living of people. So that's what we are experiencing now. And the impact we are experiencing now is more because of the uncertainty in the economy. Looking at the banking sector, looking at even the insurance companies, the pension houses, which is the fabric of the economy, the uncertainty is even making the situation worse.
Are there ways these struggling businesses can remain in business till the economy sees a rebound?
If you're a business owner, this year may not be a very good year, depending on the kind of job you do, to really expand. So if you had in your plan, let's say business plan, to open another outlet, to expand the number of people that you're employing, I'm not sure this time of the year is very good for such. You should focus on the core business that you are doing and see how best you can be efficient with the little that you have. So what you can do is to ensure that you control what is within your space. So if it's a matter of, let's say, not increasing salaries, but making people have flexible working conditions so that they will not complain, but they will still deliver what you are doing. Then for me, that's good. If you are selling the market and you've realized that for the whole Monday to Friday, you're always in the market, things are not working, you may have to strategically position yourself. Maybe market days is the only time you go, so that the amount of money you spend in trekking from your house to the place can be saved.
Angela Jiman Lebene is trying to implement cost-cutting measures.
I have 2 freezers and a fridge and those things, so those things also take electricity. So in a month, if we want to work, we use like 300 cedis prepaid. And no, that's only prepaid though. Then water is there, and then I use 100 cedis and more in a month. So let's say for utilities, at least 500 cedis per month. So imagine paying that at home and then paying here, and then so it's better you close down one, focus on one. So that's what I tried doing, like shutting up this place and then focusing in the house and paying one utility bill there. A friend of mine, the last time, she also opened a catering service. She has closed down her place. She was even telling me she's selling some of her things, so I should come and buy. And I was laughing at her. She has closed down. It's making the youth do a lot of, like, venturing into a lot of things. Like today I'm trying this because you don't know when things will stabilize. So today you are investing in this, tomorrow you are doing this, and then you end up losing everything.
Ghana has been battling high inflation and rising cost of commodities. The consequences that people are unable to afford basic necessities, and the business environment continues to remain hostile. These have driven people out onto the streets to protest against the cost of living pressures. The Fix the Country movement has championed mass protests in parts of the country, basically demanding better management of the economy. November 2022 witnessed a fresh wave of protests and agitations reminiscent of a famous 1995 Kumipreko demonstration orchestrated by now President Akufo-Addo and other leading members of the NPP.
The policies that the government has been implementing are policies that do not find favor with the general mass of our people, and that the mass of the people of this country have been systematically impoverished.
27 years since the 1995 Kumipreko demonstration, the economic conditions which precipitated the riots then still prevail.
As at now in Ghana, the situation is so dire that the best thing is for President Akufo-Addo to take responsibility and to resign with his Vice President, Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia.
The economic crunch appears to have been exacerbated by the high unemployment situation. In 2022, the Ghana Statistical Service reported about 1.74 million people, representing 13.4% of the total working population of 13 million, were unemployed. Those who are in employment are struggling to afford decent lives. The Ghana Statistical Service's 2022 earnings report released in February 2023 revealed 4 out of every 5 public sector employees earn less than 3,000 cedis. Out of the 688,000 persons employed by government, 533,179 of them earn less than 3,000 cedis. This represents 80% of the total workforce.
If you take net salaries, that is what people take home, you have a minimum of 418 Ghana cedis relative to a maximum of about 33,000 Ghana cedis. So the least earner in the public service is earning as low as 81 times what the highest earner is receiving.
But how can an average employee earning under 3,000 cedis survive in an economy like this? Patrick Abankwaba says cutting down drastically on spending is key.
In times like this where your salary may not increase, may be the same from last year, you may want to ask yourself, do we really need to drive a car every day of the week? What if you decide to, let's say Monday is traffic situation, so you go with your car, or Fridays the same. In between, what can you do to limit the expenses that you are incurring on fuel? Some people are now buying about 1,000, 2,500, 2,000 cedis of fuel in a month. I know some people who have kids in school fees have gone up in January, and they have to now go to the bank, look for some kind of support, financial support, to be able to meet. And the banks are not even giving up the loans now because of the debt exchange that they are also trying to fight their way around it.
I have come to one of the most densely populated communities here in Accra to meet Abdul Wadood, a level 100 student of the University of Ghana, who does menial side jobs to support his education. With no fixed salary and no steady stream of income, Abdul Wadood says survival is tough.
Life has been unbearable for the past, I think, 5 or 6 months or so. An occasional job to come, then I'll go and do, and after that I'll leave the job and go back to school. Yeah. But even with that, it's not that easy because the little we earn is just for food, nothing else. And then transportation comes in sometimes and other petty things, but still it's not that enough for us to even take us through a week.
Young people like Abdul Wadood are feeling the pressure. Rising cost of living is choking them.
Most of us, the least we can earn is just 500 cedis a month. If we have to pay rent, which is estimated around 150 cedis or 300 cedis, then the rest, food, is not even part. So I don't think nowadays an average Ghanaian can even get 3 square meals to eat a day.
The snowball effect of the high cost of living is felt across many spheres, and people are unable to afford many of life's basic necessities.
Some parents, they have a schedule for their children. So maybe if this child goes to school from Monday to Thursday, he will sit in the house. Then the rest will follow from Thursday to Friday. The same thing continues the following week. How can a father with like 3 or 4 children cater for them whilst he's earning, I think, 400 cedis, 500 cedis, and 600 cedis? It's not that easy.
Security analyst Dr. Adam Bona is convinced the current conditions provide fertile grounds for all kinds of illegalities.
We call that aspect, human security, because then when people can't find jobs, people get up, it means they will not be able to buy food. Those are the chances, eating the basic necessities of life. And if you are a thinking government, you should be worried. And so obviously that presents a huge security challenge, bigger than you talk about maybe the Al-Qaeda's and the jihadist movement and all that.
Dr. Adam Bona says the potential of radicalization of young people is higher at a time like this.
When you don't have what it takes to employ them, then they will be a huge national security threat. And that is what we are seeing. You can go from Bukom to Hamile, the unemployment rate seems to be the same, and something needs to be done.
Increasingly, young people are beginning to find alternative ways of survival. In many communities like Nima, the young people, both men and women, are turning to sports betting. Abdul Wadud's friends tell me he is a serial betpreneur.
Most of us do depend on these betting companies for our daily means, because nowadays more of the youth, I should say maybe average like 75% or 70% of the youth are into betting, and this is also another means for them to get money. Some do earn a lot, some have been able to cater for themselves through these betting sites, some have even been able to travel with it. Sometimes I do get some little money from it, the one which can cater for me at least maybe a week or maybe 2 or 3 days. Yes. Nowadays ladies also still bet.
Oh wow.
Yes. But there are some circumstances whereby things don't go well as how we planned. You need to be heartless in sticking bets because you might not know, because the team you support doesn't give you money. Just give you excitement when the team wins. But I'll not go with my heart, because in finding money, bet doesn't go with heart.
But what is the role of government in easing the sufferings of the people?
We are really suffering. Life has been unbearable for us for the past 6 months. Increasement in school fees and accommodation, as well as our daily expenditure, food, water bills, and all those stuffs. And I'd like the government to at least chip in for us more.
For Angela Lebene Ajiman, who shut her pub and eatery 1 year into operation at Ashiye, she hopes things stabilize soon.
When you get a space or a place to operate, you need to push in more money. For the first 1.5 years there, just tune your mind that you're not coming to make any profit. That's if you have any money there for you that you can use to buy. If you don't have any money there for you that you can be pushing into the business, whilst you try to break even there, then you'll be losing.
Till then, her shop will continue to gather dust and cobwebs while she struggles to find other means of survival through online food orders and events. Abdul Nasir Abdul Latif and his wife want to see drastic changes.
The government should try and do something about the situation. We can't be working more than 12 hours a day, and you can't even feed yourself well. It's very bad. We are in this country because we don't have money to travel. That's why we are here. Else, all of the youth will just run away from this situation. It's very bad.
Government says it is working to get the economy back on track. But on the evidence of what we see, it could take a long time. We just may have to find for ourselves ways of surviving Ghana's economic meltdown. Komla Adom on the road.